So welcome to another Tokyo Revengers video, guys.
And in this video, I will be talking about the new spin-off manga series. And this series involves the backstory of Chifuyu and Baji. So far only 3 chapters have been released, however the chapters have been really good, and the story has been very interesting. So far, this manga series has mostly focused on the history of the first division of Toman. And there is also a new character that got introduced in the story.
This new character is the former First Division Vice Captain of Toman, and his name is Ryusei Sato.
This character was the Vice Captain of the First Division before Chifuyu even joined Toman, and this guy is a very strong fighter, and in Chapter 2, we saw that he is powerful enough to destroy a whole gang all by himself. And this new character is one of the reasons this story has been so enjoyable, especially his interactions with Baji and Chifuyu are very entertaining to watch. But before I get into this video, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe if you want me to keep making these videos. Anyway guys, in this story we get to learn what Toman was like back when Baji was still in middle school, and in this video I will be giving you guys a summary of what happened in the first 3 chapters. In the first chapter we get to see the scene where Baji first meets Chifuyu.
And like we saw in the anime, Chifuyu was getting attacked by a biker gang, but Baji came in to defeat the gang and saved Chifuyu.
After this, Chifuyu went to Baji's house, and he also met Baji's mother, and we can see that Baji gets his long black hair from his mother. Chifuyu always thought that biker gangs are lame, but ever since that day, Chifuyu changed his mind and he thought Toman was cool, and he really wanted to join Toman. When Chifuyu told Baji that he wanted to join Toman, Baji immediately turned him down. Baji said that it would be a problem, because he thinks that Chifuyu is too weak. Ever since Baji helped Chifuyu kept bothering Baji, and he kept following him everywhere because he wanted to join Toman. Chifuyu was very annoying, and his stubbornness angered Baji. This resulted in Baji beating him up, but Chifuyu kept taking Baji's punches. And after being beaten up very badly, Chifuyu said that he has decided to follow Keisuke Baji, and he will never change his mind no matter what happens. During this fight we also learned the reason why Chifuyu wants to follow Baji, and they also gave us a brief backstory of what happened to his father. Eventually Baji finally accepted Chifuyu because he was impressed with his resolve, so he decided that Chifuyu was strong enough to join Toman. And later that night Baji showed up at his house to pick him up on his motorcycle. And Baji decided to take Chifuyu to a meeting for the First Division members.
Chapter 2 starts off with Baji and Chifuyu arriving at the meeting. While they are riding on Baji's bike, Chifuyu starts asking Baji questions about Toman, since he knows nothing about it. During this time Toman had 100 members and 5 divisions, and there is also private meetings that take place for each division, and every division has a vice captain. This line about the vice captain caught Chifuyu's attention, because he wanted to become Baji's right-hand man. We can see Chifuyu's imagination and we see what he thinks it would be like if he was the vice captain. Ever since Toman became famous by beating the Black Dragons, all the gangs in Tokyo have been targeting them, and this is one of the reasons why Baji doesn't want weak people to join Toman, because if they are seen wearing the Toman uniform they will definitely be attacked by rival gangs. Baji explains to Chifuyu all the dangerous things that come with being a member of Toman. But even after hearing about the dangers of joining, Chifuyu still only has his mind focused on becoming Baji's right-hand man. When they arrive at the meeting, Chifuyu sees the First Division members, and he thinks that Toman is the coolest in the world. During the meeting we learn about a rival gang called Yagyo Doji, and this gang wanted to fight with Toman, so they attacked a First Division member, and they put him in the hospital. The First Division member is named Cho, and Cho was jumped by 5 guys, and his jaw was completely broken. The First Division wants to get revenge, and Baji tells them where the fight will take place. And Chifuyu announces that he wants to destroy the whole gang by himself so that he can prove that he is worthy of becoming vice captain. However, the members of Toman still don't accept him as a real member. The meeting ends when the First Division decides that the fight will take place on Friday. And then Baji and Chifuyu ride back home on Baji's motorcycle. Chifuyu started to ask Baji about the First Division vice captain, and what kind of person he is. And Baji says that he didn't attend the meeting, he is the type of guy that always skips the meetings, and he ignores Baji's instructions. Despite this, he is a very capable fighter, and Baji says that he can't think of anyone else besides him who could fill the role of vice captain. The chapter skips to Friday, and Chifuyu is trying to think of a plan to become vice captain, and eventually he decides that he will have to defeat the gang alone in order to prove himself. We see a funny scene of Chifuyu where he imagines himself defeating the gang by himself and impressing Baji. When he arrives at the gang's hideout, he sees their motorcycles parked outside, so he starts going inside the hideout. But Chifuyu became surprised because when he entered the hideout he saw that the Yagyo Doji members were already defeated, and they were all laying on the floor with injuries. Chifuyu suddenly heard someone snoring in a room, and when he entered the room, he saw a guy sleeping on a bed. Chifuyu's noise woke the guy up, and this new character says good morning to Chifuyu. We see that he has a snake tattoo on his neck, and he is wearing an earring on his right ear. When Chifuyu asked him who he is, the guy just responded by calling Chifuyu weird, and asking him the same question. And then Chifuyu announces himself as the 1st Division Vice Captain of the Tokyo Manji Gang, and Chifuyu says that he has come here to crush the Yagyo Doji, and to get revenge for the 1st Division member that got attacked. The guy just says that he understands, and he introduces himself as the leader of the Yagyo Doji gang, and he says that his name is Ryusei Sato. And then Sato challenges Chifuyu to a fight, but Chifuyu asks why all of his members got defeated. And Sato says that he got mad at them for slacking off, so he beat them up. Chifuyu then got mad and he immediately started attacking Sato, and he punched him in the face with a right hook. But this punch did not defeat him. Sato explains why the attack was ineffective. He says that he turned his face the same direction as his attack, which eliminated its power, and he says that this is a boxing technique called slipping away. Sato teaches Chifuyu how to fight, and he explains that you can predict your opponent's moves by looking at their feet. However, this was just a lie, and he immediately punched Chifuyu in the face. And then he trolled Chifuyu by calling him obedient. During this fight, someone suddenly tried to attack Chifuyu from behind, and then we see that Ryusei stopped the attack by hitting his opponent with a flying kick. And we see that he dodged Chifuyu and knocked out the delinquent with his kick at the same exact time. And Chifuyu noticed that the person who came to attack him is actually the leader of the Yagyo Doji gang. We see that all the 1st Division members finally arrived on the scene. And the true identity of this person is revealed. He is Sato Ryusei, and he is the 1st Division Vice Captain of the Tokyo Manji gang. And Chifuyu was very surprised by this revelation. All the Toman members tell Baji that they should get rid of Chifuyu, however Ryusei says that he believes Chifuyu is a good fit for their gang. After getting the approval of the vice captain, this is when Chifuyu officially becomes a member of Toman. We also see that Chifuyu's punch actually gave Ryusei a broken tooth, and he then admits that Chifuyu is actually very strong. Chifuyu thinks that he is an idiot, but he also acknowledges that he is an honest man. The chapter then switches to the next day, and Chifuyu is going to school. He wonders why Baji would make Ryusei a vice captain, and he thinks about how he can gain Baji's approval. While he is thinking, Chifuyu suddenly wakes somebody up from a nap, and this person gets up behind him. This person is Ryusei Sato, and just like when they first met, Ryusei says good morning to Chifuyu. The 2nd chapter ends with Ryusei telling Chifuyu that they are classmates, so they should get along. Chapter 3 starts off with Chifuyu eating breakfast with his cat, and he is also thinking about Ryusei. He is really annoyed with Ryusei, and he does not like how he disobeys Baji's orders. And then Chifuyu hugs his cat. This cat was abandoned when he found it, and he has been taking care of it. Suddenly the cat runs away without eating its food, and the chapter switches to when Chifuyu is at his school. While at school, he asks his friends if they know who Ryusei is, and they describe him as someone who is very popular. He is very talkative, but he doesn't look like a bad guy, and all the girls really like him. Chifuyu watches Ryusei leave school, and some girls ask him to go to a restaurant with them. But Ryusei turns them down because he has something important that he can't miss. Chifuyu then asks him where he is going, but Ryusei keeps his whereabouts private, and just says that he has business. Chifuyu follows him because he thinks that he is hiding something, and in his imagination he thinks he is secretly an evil gang leader that is plotting to betray Baji. Chifuyu keeps following Ryusei around town, and he followed him into a ramen shop. After Ryusei finished eating, Chifuyu followed him into a hospital. He was bringing some flowers to Cho, who is the 1st Division member that got hospitalized. Ryusei also made the Yagyo Doji gang members apologize to him. Cho started crying and thanked him for getting so angry on his behalf. But Ryusei says the only reason he did it is because he is the only person he can talk about soccer with, and he says he would never do that for someone with such an ugly face, and this angered Cho. Ryusei starts leaving, and he tells Cho to not tell anyone that he was here. And Cho remarks that no matter what, everyone in the first division looks up to him. Suddenly, Chifuyu's black cat enters the room, and the cat jumps into Ryusei's arms, and the cat starts showing affection to him. And that is when Chifuyu reveals that he was actually right there the whole time, and Ryusei was very surprised to see him. And Chifuyu says that the cat had a bad experience with humans when he was a stray, so he would not hug Ryusei if he was a bad person. He admits that it pisses him off, but he has misjudged Ryusei's character. Ryusei hugs the cat, and he calls the cat by the name Ronaldinho, and this is the name of a famous soccer player. When Chifuyu heard him call the cat Ronaldinho, he had a really irritated expression on his face, and he became annoyed. And then Chifuyu started arguing with Ryusei over the cat's name, and he says that the cat belongs to him, and its real name is Excalibur. While they were fighting, Baji suddenly walks in, and he punches both of them in the head. Then Baji calls them bastards for making a scene in the hospital. Baji came here just to visit Cho at the hospital, and he also brought some gifts for Cho. Baji hopes they are getting along well, but then he immediately leaves. Before leaving, Baji tells Ryusei that he will be holding another meeting soon, because a delinquent group wants to fight the first division. And Baji tells Chifuyu not to run away, because it is going to be a very good fight. Suddenly the cat jumps on top of Baji, and then the cat sits on his shoulder. Chifuyu calls the cat by the name Excalibur, and Ryusei calls the cat Ronaldinho. But Baji says that they are wrong, and he asks them what they are talking about. And then Baji explains that this cat is actually named Peak J, and he is a cat that sometimes comes to play at his house. Baji tells them this while he is petting Peak J on the back. Chifuyu and Ryusei were both surprised that Baji knew this cat too, and they both had funny expressions on their faces. And then they both call the cat by the name Peak J, and they both say that it is nice to meet you, Peak J. And this scene is where chapter 3 ends, and this is the end of this summary video. Let me know what you guys thought of this story. I actually really enjoyed this new art style and the new characters that were introduced. I also really liked the character interactions in this show, and I will review the next chapters when they come out. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, then like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.